Hey everyone, Randy here. Welcome to the Darq project, which is all about writing, art, and rediscovering my creative spark as a working single mom. And today's video is going to be half tutorial, half process, I suppose, more in the art and craft arena of things. I'm going to be making a couple of art journals that I'm going to be using over the next few months. We'll see how long it takes to fill them up. Just something small, made with stuff I already had around the house, so I have spaces to work in. So I'm going to bring you along for that, and we'll see what we can make together. Here are the materials that you're going to need in order to do this. So you're going to want something that's a little bit heavier for your cover. In this case, I'm going to be using this probiotic soda box, and I'm actually going to make 3 covers from this because I'm going to make 1, 2, and glue all the ends together to make 3. So something a little bit heavier weight, cereal box, whatever you've got. You know you've got a few in the house. That's going to be the cover. You're going to need things to go inside for your signature or the paper that you're going to have in the middle. I've got some painted papers that are book page, my test page for some stamping, and my acrylic markers. This was just a paint page and glue at some point. Gel prints I made when I was experimenting with masks that I didn't really like. Brayer off sheet, painted papers. And this is just a giant piece of Amazon packaging that I have used as my under paper and brayering off for when I'm playing with the gel plate. And just in case that isn't enough, I have a few blank pieces here. So when you get shipments from Amazon, you get that big wound up hunk of paper in there. If you straighten it out and lay it out underneath some heavy stuff, depending on how big you cut it, you can end up with some pretty decent sized pieces of paper that can be used for a variety of things. Art journals or junk journals or whatever are one of them. So what I'm going to do is get everything cut down to size, and I'm just going to show you a few of them so you don't have to watch me do the whole thing, because I'm sure that would get pretty boring pretty fast. So what I'm going to do in this instance is just cut this down the middle. So we'll be separating the 2 that are pretty much already put together cover-wise. Oh, and did I mention you'll want scissors, potentially a pencil, and something to bind everything together with. In this case, I have a long arm stapler, but you can stitch the binding by hand or with a machine or glue it, whatever works. So there's that. I'm just going to cut these ends off, and like I said, I will glue them back together as they were together initially to make a 3rd smallish art journal. So with the way things are going in the world right now, specifically here in America, you never know, and you might not be able to get things from the store anymore. So having some basic skills like being able to make books, whether they are for learning or leisure, it's not a bad skill to have. That is an extra piece that isn't necessarily needed, but we'll put it in that pile anyway. Those 2 stacks will become another one, and now we've got these. I'm going to actually put the shiny side on the outside. And that one's not going to be completely even on the back, and that is okay. Neither is that one, but that is alright. So, once you figured out what size you want your journal to be, you cut accordingly for your cover, and that's good to go. So set those off to the side. Just for the heck of it, where did I put my ruler? There's my ruler. this is about 10 inches wide and about 5¼ inches tall. So, not too bad. Small enough size that it won't seem intimidating to work in. So, I am not terribly concerned with making sure that the pages are the exact same size, but I want them to be close. If they are a little bit small, that is okay. Like in the instance of this one. I'm just going to fold that in half. We will find somewhere to place that where it is going to be nifty and interesting. And if it's a little bit bigger, I can always cut off the overhang once I have everything together, because it's just easier to do once it's assembled, in my opinion. But I also have a giant industrial size paper cutter that can chop through like 300 pages at a clip, so there's that too, which I know not everybody has. You can always use craft knife and a straight edge ruler and just go through nice and slow and cut each piece. That totally works as well. Probably use the top side of that one because it'll be more interesting that way. Don't ask why these particular pages. I just flipped through a stack of some things that were halfway done and said, that looks interesting, that'll do. So in this case, I want to have enough pieces of paper that it's probably going to last me through the month, and if I've got a little bit of extra, that is totally okay too. And since June is a 30-day month, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This I'm actually going to cut around the edges because I don't want extra white space there. You can use magazine pages, whatever you've got available. That's kind of the whole point, is to use what you've got, especially if it's something that you've been sitting on for a while. It's just taking up space. That some people like to do the torn edges, and some people go really crazy with lots of size variety with their pages. And I'm not terribly concerned with being that meticulous about it. I really just want to make something with my hands that I can doodle in and paint in and have a good time with, because the world is dark and full of terrors. And just try not to think about it sometimes. So, this is what I want to do. Lay down a couple at the same time over the parts that look interesting. And all of these, as you can see, are just square off pages from my gel plate. up there. Save more of the other paper to use for something else. Speaking of the craft knife, move those out of the way. Just gonna go from that edge there, and that means this is going to catch some of the paint, but it's not going to catch all of it. Both of those. And yes, I like my metallics. So far we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to snip this off just to make this easier to handle, because it is a touch unwieldy as it is. That's what she said. That's got some interesting textures on it. That part is done. I'm going to take all of these bigger pieces and figure out where I want them to be, placement-wise. And I will not bore you with that. I will probably speed through it, because you don't need to hear me hemming and hawing over what's going to go where. So I've got my signature all assembled. Now I'm just going to open it to the middle and use the stapler. I'm gonna try and make the bottom edge as straight as possible. That will just make it easier. Is that going to be down far enough? I'm going to also put my cover on the outside. That's the bigger one, so that's going to be the front. It's all folded. Should make aligning it a little bit easier. And if it's not completely perfect, that is also okay. You could always neaten up the edges if you're really worried about it, or you could just roll with it and not care. And since this is supposed to be a little bit messy, we're gonna err on the side of just not caring. So I'm going to put 2 staples in this because I want it to stick together quite well. Should we do 2 or should we do 3? Let's make it even at least. Seriously out of staples. Oh, lame. Alright, hold that thought. I have returned. If you are like me and you don't want your staples to be totally boring, you can actually get colored staples. These are jam paper and envelope colorful staples, and these are red because I'm just a red kind of girl. Because of course it did. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do test squish just because I did not have it jam with the first one because it has a tendency to. Oh, that one was pretty good. All right. Completely centered. Oh no, who cares? It's fine. It's holding it together. That's all that matters. So it is now bound together. And now I am just going to straighten it out and get rid of the excess going from the front, because with this box in particular, the back is slightly shorter than the front. So we're gonna go by the front. I'm just going to use my scissors because I could go get out the big fancy chopper and I don't feel like lifting it up onto the table. So we're not going to do that. So we'll go with the front side first. Just even it up so it's not sticking off the edges. Some of these you can use for more cutouts and other collage things. That is chunky. That's fine. Scissors cannot handle that. So I'm going to be just pressing down on this, and I'm just going to go through this. I'm not going to push down really hard because that's how you end up breaking the blade, having the blade slip. We're just going to go through nice and easy, and it will cut through the layers it cuts through as we go. Sometimes they fly off like that. All of them really fast and unexpectedly. Okie doke. Alright. I'm just going to neaten up the top edge a little bit because that's just the way that I am. Primarily those bits hanging right there because that's going to bug me. The nice thing about art journaling and junk journaling and whatever you want to call it is that you can do it however you want. People try and say that there's rules, but there really aren't any, especially when you're making your own thing. You do what you want. That's kind of the point. It's art. If everybody followed the same rules, that's how you end up with the conundrum we're running across in literature right now, which is, why do all of these books sound the same? Well, because somebody told you that to be marketable, you have to make it fit certain parameters, and if it doesn't fit certain parameters, then clearly nobody's ever going to want anything to do with it. So, funny culture soda. So, here's what this one looks like right now. That's the way I cut it. I wasn't looking at it when I cut it. So there's some space to do kind of whatever we want to in here. All of this can be covered with other collage or gesso or just paint. Some of it could be stamps and stickers. Got open spaces and filled spaces. I'm actually really liking this so far, and there isn't even anything put in it, but that was fun to put together. So I'm looking forward to doing the other ones. Once I do, I will have to show you those as well at some point. This is what I'm working with right now, because I want to do one spread, a 2-page spread, every day for the month of June. I'm not sure if I'm going to use prompts or if I'm just going to kind of wing it and go with whatever the muse decides. But I know that doing a little bit of art with my hands every day, even if some people wouldn't consider it to be art, helps my brain be a happier brain. And with the way the world is, that is always important and should never be discounted. So, I hope that you had some fun making something along with me if you did, and if not, I hope that this was helpful and quasi-informational if you're into that thing, even though it's not really a hard and fast tutorial, so to speak. So, I look forward to seeing what you're going to make. Feel free to tag me on social media if you want to show off what you made, or make your own little videos showing off what you made. Tag me and let me see them. I would love to. The world needs more art. And remember, we are all just works in progress. Take care of yourselves, Darklings. See you next time.